Ty France went 3 for 4 with a 3-run blast. Luis Castillo absolutely shoved. Matt Brash took Jose Ramirez's soul, and those weren't the only positives from an epic opening day shutout win over the Guardians. Let's talk about it. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is Friday, March 31st, 2023. This is Trident Gonzalez and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Subscribe, like, and turn on alerts if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform if you like what you hear. And if you want to hear from us even more, please consider signing up for our Patreon by scanning the QR code right above my head. The link, as well as our social accounts, is also in the description below. Yesterday was almost a perfect opening day. The Astros lost. The Angels hilariously lost to the Oakland Athletics. And the Mariners shut out the Guardians by a score of 3-0. Luis Castillo, absolutely amazing yesterday. 6 scoreless innings, 6 strikeouts, just 1 hit allowed. Ty France goes 3 for 4, looking healthy as ever. Nearly misses a home run in his second to last at bat by about a foot, and then hits a game-winning 3-run blast after the Mariners failed to bring across any runs with runners in scoring position. They could not get any hits. They had 6 consecutive hits in the first 6 innings of this game and just couldn't do anything with them. But France finally broke through. That's all the Mariners needed. Andres Munoz, a little bit of an iffy 9th inning, but he ends up closing the door. And Colby, I know you have some takeaways here from this game, so let's get right into them.
Sure. So I'll just read them verbatim off on my phone right now. Takeaway number 1. I feel like we need music under this. Look for some royalty-free music, Ty. Okay, that's enough. Not your music. Good music. Like real good music. Like somebody who's actually wrote music before. That type of music.
Someone hit us up. Give us some music. Give us some beats to throw on the show. We're open to it.
Sure. So number 1, verbatim, Castillo 98 in the first. LOL. Yeah. Remember all those? Oh my God, Castillo's only throwing 93. It's devastating.
Yeah.
He's going to be Robbie Ray this year. Took him 4 or 5 pitches to get to 97, and then he finished it on 98. Yeah, Castillo was just, absolutely filthy. We'll get to him again later on, but if you were concerned at all about Luis Castillo's velocity, stop. It's fine. Number 2, Julio's nemesis, still slider away. He chased one from Bieber in his first at bat, a pretty good one. Bieber had a good slider last night. Julio wasn't the only guy who struggled with that pitch, but he did in fact struggle with it. Although he did come up, and despite not having any hits, Julio did tag a couple balls. So that's nice to see. I don't think anybody's concerned about Julio, but he did hit a couple of slicing line drives that unfortunately got marine layered. Number 3, Ty Francis, a good hitter. So one of my favorite memes. Yeah, dude hits. It's funny, against the home run he hit off of Kelenic. It was actually the pitch before was the pitch he probably should have done damage on. It was 1-0, and he got that fastball middle in, and he fouled it back, and he was a little late on it. And you're just like, that's the pitch you pull down the line for the home run. And then, of course, France gets a pitch out over the plate. It wasn't even a strike, and he just kind of flips it into the right field seats for a home run. Just barely cleared the wall, but it all counts. So Ty France, dude can hit if he can stay healthy.
I can't believe that was the one that cleared the wall.
Right?
Like you got Gino's
Kelenic.
double. Yeah, yep. Kelenic, the one that he flew out to Straw.
It was like medium deep center field, too. It didn't even get to the warning track.
Yeah, Julio's opposite field threat. There might have been
Ty
one
France's
or two more.
Double.
Yeah, the double that missed going over the wall by like a foot. Yeah.
Yeah, so ball did not carry last night at all, but somehow Francis did. So go figure. He did hit it to the shortest part of the ballpark, though. So good placement.
Sure.
Number 4 here, Jared Kelenic looked really comfortable last night. He carried over what he did in the spring. 2 hard hit balls, one of them for a base hit, the other one probably at least a double in June, maybe even a home run. Just, unfortunate 104 or something like that off the bat and just died.
Do you
But
know
yeah,
what the
even the strike,
XBA on that was?
I think it was 800.
That's
Uh,
brutal.
yeah, it is. It is. But Kelenic, even in the strikeout, didn't chase, right? He stayed within the zone. He just looks like a comfortable guy. Everything carried over from the spring. So obviously he still has to produce numbers for this to be real. But
Yeah.
yesterday was a really good start for him.
And the strikeout that he had, that was a great at bat, worked full count, and then just
Mhm.
Bieber had just the most perfect pitch.
Perfect placement. Yep.
Yeah, just amazing. Yeah.
Nothing you can really do with it. Number 5, Mariners bats were better than the stats show last night. Bieber was good, don't get me wrong, but the Mariners had quite a few hard hit balls, quite a few medium hard hit balls.
Mm.
For example, Colton Wong had 3 hard hit balls, went 0 for 3. It happens sometimes. I thought Tommy La Stella actually looked pretty good considering how few at bats he got. Didn't smash anything. I think he only had 1 hard hit ball, but the other 2 were medium hit balls, which do have a decent chance of falling for hits. So La Stella actually looked okay. Wong was a lot better than his 0 for 3 would indicate. We talked about Kelenic's, deep fly out. Julio had a couple hard hit balls that just didn't land. So I actually thought the Mariners put together some really good at bats off of a really good pitching staff. So overall, I think the offense was better than the 3 runs that they produced. Just sometimes it doesn't go your way, and it seemed to happen a lot to the Mariners yesterday.
Honestly, the worst hitter last night was probably Teoscar Hernandez, which pains me. It really pains me. Yeah,
Ty is officially jinxed Teo.
I was in pain last night watching some of those at bats. Yeah, especially the last one, the strikeout, where like you got all the momentum on your side after the France
Put the
home
dagger
run.
in him, man.
Yeah, oh god, I wanted it so bad, and it just two strikeouts, right, for Teo, or 3?
Yeah,
I think it was 2.
They were not close.
They were not.
They
Yeah,
were not competitive at bats.
Yeah.
So hopefully tonight will be better. Back to Castillo real fast. We talked about this in our pitching preview. How Castillo last year was pretty much 4-seam, 2-seam slider once it came over. But he actually had a really good changeup. And last night he kind of brought it back. He dusted it off a little bit, threw it 13 times. He got 3 whiffs and 3 called strikes on it. So 46% called strike plus whiff rate on a changeup that Castillo is right now feels like is his at best his 3rd best pitch. That's a really exciting development. Castillo didn't even really have a great slider last night.
No,
so
it was the sinker. The sinker was disgusting last night.
Right. Well, I mean, 4-seamer also the 2 fastballs.
Yeah.
The 2 fastballs. They're 2 separate pitches. I mean, it's really both of them were disgusting. And then you had the changeup. The one he threw to strike out Stephen Kwan was absolute filth.
And he was even laughing a little bit. You could see him when the camera pans over. It's like I posted a screenshot of it too when he was smiling. I forget who he struck out after when he was smiling, but it's just like when you're ridiculous, like he knew, like he was feeling himself last night a little bit. You could tell.
He was, and if his hair didn't get in the way, he probably would have gone 6, no hit innings, but. Or maybe it slowed it up enough, but it looks like JP was positioned well to handle that ball. But yeah, he was awesome. I think he had 22 whiffs last night, or 22 called strike plus whiffs last night, which is a pretty good number.
I think he had 12 whiffs, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have Savant in front of me, but just going off of memory. Yeah.
So yeah, Matt Brash, 80 grade stuff, 40 grade control. Yep, something's never changed.
He's disgusting, though. Oh my god.
If Matt Brash
I want to talk about him more in the next segment. But
okay, if Matt Brash had 50 grade control, he's basically Devin Williams on steroids. So yeah. Speaking of Brash, I thought it was interesting. Brash for the middle of the order.
Yeah.
Seawald gets the second half of the order.
Yeah, it was 6, 7, 8. I think
6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Munoz gets the top of the order. So 7th, 8th, 9th inning. Is this what we're going to see? Is it just going to be is Munoz the closer? Is Seawald the bridge now? Is Brash the new high leverage guy? Because I think if you're going off what we saw last year, Munoz probably should have pitched the 7th because he was going up against Ramirez, but whatever. They clearly trust Brash, and Service said that he's going to get a lot of high leverage opportunities like that this year. So yeah, we'll see if that is just kind of based on matchup or just kind of how it fell this time. But I did think it was interesting. It was Brash, Sewald, Munoz in that order. And then last but not least, T-Mobile Park last night, absolutely electric. Rattled Karinchak to his core. They were counting down the pitch clock.
2.
He sailed a couple to the backstop. And
oh yeah, after he had the pitch clock violation, and the very next pitch he sails that fastball right over Zunino's head.
I saw that. I was like, oh, he's done.
Oh, it's over. It's over. It's a wrap. And then JP just kept on pestering him, kept on fouling pitches off. Such a great probably the best at bat of the whole night.
That at bat was 0-2. As well. And so, look, did the Mariners catch a little bit of break on the foul ball that wasn't called? Yeah, sure. They did. Did they take advantage of it? Yeah, absolutely they did. And T-Mobile Park was a huge part of that. Karinchak was rattled. He was,
and it couldn't have happened to a worse reliever too.
Oh God, I so hate Karinchak. He even chopped off his nappy hair because he didn't want it to be like, oh look, I'm not cheating, even though I'm just wiping sweat on my hand every single time.
His pants are painted on him, by the way.
If you're gonna wear pants that tight, you need to do more squats. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of, did you watch the player introductions before the game?
No.
Oh, okay. No. Robbie Ray's pants look even tighter this year. His whole uniform looks tighter. I guess we'll see it tonight. We'll see it tonight for sure. But
we will. But T-Mobile Park, the vibe and the energy just felt really good, even on TV. It was funny to read the stories about them counting down the pitch clock with Karinchak on the mound. It definitely had an effect, and Karinchak's a really good reliever, even though he's probably a really good cheater. But he's a really good reliever, and you rattled him. You got in his head, and as a result, he made some bad pitches, and the Mariners walked away with a win. So good job, T-Mobile Park.
Yeah, we're not big on puns, name puns at least, but Karinchak.
Oh,
yeah. All right, so I want to talk about Matt Brash. So we're going to do that in just a moment. But real quick, a reminder, this episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by Game Time. Buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. So forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you again for making us your first listen. Well, Colby, you're going to have to give away your Mike Cameron autograph card, because last night we said if we got to $2,000 donated for our Feeding America fundraiser, you would give that card away before first pitch of last night's game. And we got to 2K, and we're almost at 3K now, about 24 hours later. I believe we're at $2,966 raised.
Not anymore, Ty.
Ooh, we got
just
another
across
one.
2 minutes ago from our recording, anonymous donated $44. We are now at $3,010 raised.
There we go.
Yes. So obviously that's amazing, guys. And if you didn't hear, if we do hit 10,000 by May 1st, this guy over here is going to get a tattoo of we won't tell them what it is of yet, but I think we know. But yeah,
I think I said what I was thinking of, but I'm not like for sure on it. Like I might do something different, but we'll see.
He's already nixed the Buff Kirby idea, unfortunately. So it's not going to be Buff Kirby, but
listen, I told you that I was going to do something that wouldn't get me divorced, and Buff Kirby was on that list of what would get me divorced, probably. So yeah,
whatever. Still a long way to go, guys. We're only about a third of the way there, but if we get there, that would be amazing. Obviously, because it'd be funny to watch the YouTube video of Ty getting his tattoo, but also because it'll mean that we would have raised 100,000 meals
Mhm.
for people who are hungry. If you guys want to donate, if you want to help out, you can click the or you can scan the QR code right there. There's also a link that is in the description of both the audio version and video version of this podcast. It'll take
Mhm.
you right to our donation page. And every little bit helps. Feeding America is a great organization. 34 million Americans suffer from food insecurity right now. 9 million of those are children. And Feeding America provides nutritious meals to those in need. They can turn every dollar that is raised into 10 meals thanks to their deals with wholesalers. It's a great organization, and so far, we have raised, just from your guys' donations, we've raised 30,100 meals, just like that. So if you can donate, it would be very much appreciated. You can scan the QR code or click the link down below. If you can't donate it, or you already have and you want to continue to help, every new subscriber that Ty and I get this month and through April, we will be donating 10 cents to Feeding America. So at last check, I think we're up about 150 this
Mhm.
week in subscribers. So that right there is 150 extra meals just from clicking a button.
Yep.
And if you guys have already done all that, then don't be afraid to share. Share this with friends and family. Put it on your social media page. Let's get this thing as far. Let's see how big we can get the number, because we've already blown past our goal, and that's all because of you guys. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. And 3Ks in the rear view. Let's see if we can get to 4, I guess. So thank you guys so much. But again, scan the QR code or click the link down below, or
Mhm.
simply subscribe. It all
Yeah.
helps. And every dollar that we raise really does help, guys, because like we said, it's 10 meals for
Yeah.
somebody who really needs them.
Yeah. And a subscription, like Colby said, is just as good as a donation, because that's one meal for someone that could really use it. So, all right. Matt Brash. He was kind of the talk of this game, despite Luis Castillo's performance, Ty France's performance, because, I mean, you go on Pitching Ninja's Twitter right now, it's all about Matt Brash.
Yeah.
Matt Brash, in the first game of the year, might have won Pitching Ninja's Pitch of the Year. At the very least, it might be a contender, because you're going up against one of the 5-10 best hitters in all of baseball in Jose Ramirez, and you spin him like a Beyblade. I think Aaron Goldsmith on the radio broadcast said that Matt Brash corkscrewed him into the earth.
Yes.
Aaron Goldsmith in midseason form already.
All right. Of course.
So glad that Goldie is here and he's ours.
Yeah.
And
he explained the core,
Yeah.
Earth's core and whatnot. Like,
Yeah.
Goldie is A+. And hey, you know what? Underrated offseason acquisition / extension right there. Aaron Goldsmith. It's great to have him back.
Chills.
Chill. I mean, sure, that we'll give DePoto credit for that one too. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Cesar Hernandez, Aaron Goldsmith.
Right. Yeah. Cesar Hernandez signed a minor league deal today with the Mariners, a guy that we've talked about a couple times in the past for the Mariners. They're taking a little flyer on him on a minor league deal.
This year's Jonathan VR.
There we go. Yeah, check. There you go. Dude, this wasn't even the first time that Brash got Ramirez off balance, right? He got him on his knees on what was called a ball. I only saw that one out of the corner of my eye because I was doing something else. I thought it was a strike. Was it actually
I thought
a
he
strike?
swung.
Yeah, I thought he swung too, right? So, all right. So I wasn't tripping on that. And then he puts him on his butt on the strikeout. Just one of we've seen a lot of filthy performances out of Matt Brash. This was by far the filthiest, considering the competition and who he did it against. Like,
I don't know, man. The way he looked in that playoff game against Houston,
the
last game last year, like getting Altuve to look like an idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about 3-2 in a 0-0 game on opening day, and Brash goes to the slider? Like, screw the fastball. I mean,
nope. Yeah.
I get this anywhere near the strike zone, I'm going to get a strike. Like, that's how Brash has to feel about his slider. And he dropped a beautiful curveball to start the at bat too. Like, so Brash is something else.
So Savant had it as a slider, the one that he struck Ramirez out on, but that looked more like the knuckle curve to me.
They're actually kind of similar.
Yeah, they were really similar. It's hard to differentiate.
Right. Especially if he throws it hard. Mm-hmm. It kind of turns into like a slurve more so than a knuckle curve. Mm-hmm. It looked like a slider to me, but again, sometimes I can't tell the difference because most curveballs, they're loopy.
Yep.
and the slider is more of a quick
It's a
fade
frisbee.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and both of Brash's breaking balls can do both of those things pretty much at any time, and
Mhm.
yet they spin differently. So it's got to be so confusing as a hitter when you're sitting there like, oh, that's curveball spin, and then you're like, oh no, wait, that's a slider. I'm
Yeah,
screwed.
his knuckle curve is like 2 to 10,
Yeah,
2 to 9. Like
and
it's a
he
really
throws it
weird looking
harder.
pitch. Yeah. Yeah, he throws it
Yeah,
harder. Yeah, I think the
so
one that he got Ramirez on was what, 87, 88, something like
I think
that.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. God, what a that inning gave me great joy. I'll say that's the very clean version of of how it
Mhm.
made me feel. Yeah.
Ty, I'm going to put you on the spot here before we transition, or I don't know
Okay.
if we're about to transition to segment 3 or not, but
Mm.
better inning, Kendall Graveman against Houston or Matt Brash against Cleveland.
The very first inning of
Kendall Graveman his first
against
start ever for Seattle.
against the Astros in 2020, or this inning for Brash. I'm gonna go with this inning for Brash. I think it topped it.
Mm,
I mean, dude, he put
okay.
Jose Ramirez, not just some random dude, Jose freaking Ramirez on his butt on opening day. Like,
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, he corkscrewed him, but honestly, I think you could argue that wasn't even the best inning of the night. I mean, Castillo gave up that hit,
yeah, and then he comes
struck out
back
the
and
next 3 guys.
yeah.
And you're just like, whew.
So that comebacker that fully hit his hair, right?
He said that it was like 50% his head, 50% his hair, but that would mean it hit his neck, right? Like it would have
Right.
like boom, boom.
Dude,
So maybe hit the hair first and then like grazed the neck. I don't know. It was scary, but when you watched the replay, it looked like it just hit like right where you
I just thought that it
tied
hit
his
his hair.
hair. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, whatever. Thankfully, he was okay. He came back, and you're like, "Oh man, is
Well, I was
that
worried
gonna have
too
a
because he
lasting
put up his
effect?"
throwing hand to try and
Yeah.
block it. I'm like, no, don't do that, bud. Don't,
I mean,
no, Luis.
I'd rather he break a finger than take a 95-mile-an-hour ball to the head. But like,
Yeah.
still, it's like, oof. So that was scary. And then of course he comes back, he strikes out the next 3 guys, like almost laughing his way off the mound. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, like
okay,
I said,
well,
he was feeling himself last night.
he,
He
he was,
really
it was
was.
good.
Everyone was amped yesterday. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
The energy, it wasn't just the ballpark itself. The team was just they were amped. They were able to create their own energy as well. That was a lot of fun. And the dance is back. The dance is back. I was kind of wondering if the dance would come back or not, because teams swap out celebrations every year.
Right. They like to keep it fresh, and
Yeah.
they like every year's different, so we should have a different. And they're like, nope, this is who we are.
Also, did you see Julio doing the dance
Yeah,
outside of
behind
the
him.
circle?
Yeah,
Come on,
yeah,
just
yeah.
let Julio into the circle.
If
Julio
he
wants to be a
ran
part
in-
of it.
Like if he ran in there fast enough, they would have, because it took them a while to get the circle going. Man.
Oh yeah,
Like,
Colton Wong was a little confused on what to do. I think.
Yeah, and it's
he's
like,
new.
dude,
He's new. He'll learn. He'll figure it out.
like, you didn't watch us in the playoffs last year. You had time.
They
thanks
didn't
to Corbin
practice
Burns
this in
after all.
spring. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Corbin, good one. Yep, stumping for the Brewers ownership.
But yeah. So again, real fast. I don't want this to be overlooked. Munoz struggled a little bit. Whatever. He didn't pitch a lot this spring.
Yeah,
It's going to be fine. But let's give some love to Paul Sewald, kind of the forgotten guy here in the
great
middle.
inning from him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Castillo and Brash were absolutely nasty. Munoz struggled a little bit, and so that's what everybody's talking about. But Sewald pitched a really flawless 8th inning. Fastball 92, 93. Slider had some good bites. So let's not overlook what Paul Sewald did last night. That was pretty important.
See us wall, baby. He picked up right where he left off. Matt Brash picked up right where he left off. And Munoz, like you said, he'll come around. That was his 4th appearance of the whole calendar year. So, he'll get it figured out. Hung a slider there to Rosario. Ramirez took advantage of, where the defense was aligned and all that in the outfield. Teo just couldn't get to that ball. It's whatever. It happens. And you know what? At the end of the day, didn't give up any runs. So it's still pretty good outing for Andres Munoz overall. All right. So we're going to be previewing tonight's matchup and the rest of the weekend here with the Mariners and Guardians in just a moment. But real quick, a reminder, this episode of Locked On Mariners is brought to you by FanDuel. The tournament is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and threes drained. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. So don't miss your chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/LockedOn. That's FanDuel.com/LOCKEDON to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. I almost tripped up there, but I got it. We made it through.
Almost.
We persevered. You're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Look, it's opening day for everyone, and you with your itchy trigger finger on the video clip yesterday.
That was only valid yesterday. It's now day 2. The grind has officially begun.
It's opening week. All right, it's not opening day. It's
are you
opening
one
week.
You're one of those. It's my birthday month, people, aren't you?
Yeah. And for me, since I was born on the 1st of May, I get the entire month of May. That's my whole month. It's the month of Ty.
Gross. So gross.
So tonight, we've got Bob Ray on the mound against Hunter Gaddis, who I'm going to be real with you, I don't know a lot about. All I know is he looks like someone that's definitely named Hunter Gaddis. He's got an incredible beard, so he's got that working for him. Don't know a ton else about him. I know that he's someone that Guardians fans don't really think will end up sticking in the rotation long term, but he gets the start tonight. Kind of surprised that he's going game 2, considering that I think he was a late add to the rotation with the injury to Tristan McKenzie.
I think that's just about keeping everybody else in their original slot.
Right. So what do you got for me on Gaddis? What should we know?
Yeah, minor league performer, misses bats in the minors, hasn't really translated to the big leagues. He's only got about 8 innings in the big leagues under his belt.
And he's given up 15 earned runs with 7 home runs during that time.
He's been hit hard. And when you look at the stuff profile, it's fastball cutter mostly. Fastball is 92, 93, cutters, 89 to 91. Both pitches are about average from my understanding, major league average. The changeup is kind of the actual weapon here. He's got a curveball. I think it's a curveball, might be a slider. He's got a curveball. It's more of a get me over pitch. It's more just change the eye level type of thing. The changeup is the pitch he should be trying to get to, but he did not throw that changeup much last year in the big leagues. So he really wants to do fastball cutter. The problem is that both of those pitches are average-ish. At least that's how they looked when he made his debut last year. So it's really the changeup that he should be looking to throw more, but we'll see what they decide to do. You don't want to judge anybody off of their last 7 2/3 innings, especially a young arm like this. So things change. I don't know much what about his profiles changed, but from last year's looks, that's kind of what it was. Average fastball, cutter that he uses, pretty reliably, but it's not great, and an underutilized changeup that's a legitimate major league pitch. So he's kind of sounds to me kind of Taylor Dollard-ish. That's my understanding of about what Gaddis is.
So as for Ray, we've talked about him a lot. You've been very high on him, especially over the last couple weeks here. You picked him as your Cy Young winner in your bold predictions, at least. Really interested to see how he attacks guys like Jose Ramirez hitting from the right side. How much is he going to be using that splitter against righties tonight? And really excited to see the efficiency of the slider, the back foot slider. And the velocity, of course. The velocity is there now. We've talked about this over the last few days. He's 95, 96. He was 95, 96 in spring, whereas last year he was like 91, 92 to start the year. It was a little concerning. He's right where he needs to be. So hopefully that leads to a hot start. Now we get to put that to the test. So what are your expectations for Ray against this Guardians lineup tonight?
No hitter.
All right. And there you go. And that's our show. Thank you, folks.
There you go. Yeah. I'm assuming that he will also be on a pitch count, or I guess in Luis Castillo's case last night, it was more of an innings count because he only threw 76 pitches.
Yeah, I was like, dude, come on.
Like you can put him out there, get 1 or 2 more outs.
I'm thankful for the Matt Brash inning, but couldn't we? I guess it was because it was third time through the lineup, but whatever.
Like I'll allow it because it's March, but like obviously in July, he's probably going 8. or 7 2/3 with that kind of a pitch count.
Honestly, he might
You
be
know,
going for the complete game.
he might, depending on how
Yeah.
fast the innings go. But I assume they'd like to keep Ray under 100 pitches as well. Um, this is a really interesting matchup. Robbie pitched against them last year, and I think he did pretty well. But this is not a team that strikes out, and Robbie Ray is a strikeout pitcher. So it's a really interesting matchup, of kind of opposing styles. I think we're going to see the fastball 94 to 96 early. I think he's probably got a 97 somewhere in the back of the tank. And then my guess is we're going to see the slider a lot. This is a right-handed heavy lineup, or it will be tonight because of the switch hitters. But there's some lefties that you have to get out and you have to pitch really carefully to, and that's where Robbie has the slider. He has a legit weapon against them.
Mhm.
I think Ray's probably going to go 5-6 innings tonight. I think he's probably going to strike out, 6-7 guys, maybe 8, which was actually a lot when you're facing Cleveland. And if he could just keep them in the game, I think if he can go, 6 innings, give up 2-3 earned, strike out 6 or 7, keep the
Mhm.
walks to a relative minimum, I think that's a really good outing, and it gives Seattle a really good chance to win with Hunter Gaddis on the mound on the other side.
Yeah, I'm also interested to see how they deploy the bullpen tonight, if that's
Yeah.
what Ray gives them. Are we going to see anyone from last night make another appearance? Or is it more Diego Castillo, Matt Festa, Penn Murphy?
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Scott typically stays away from back-to-backs for the first few weeks if he can.
Yeah. So interested to see how they how Scott kind of works that. Any thoughts on the 2 games on the weekend? We got Logan Gilbert versus Aaron Savale tomorrow, and then Cal Quantrill against Marco Gonzalez on Sunday. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you like those matchups.
Mhm.
Pitching wise, obviously you never know. Somebody could implode and then your advantage is
Particularly
gone.
Marco. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and then your advantage is gone. So
Mhm.
it's one of those things where it looks good on paper. I'm expecting, these next 3 games to be low scoring. I'm expecting them to be tight. These are 2 teams that mirror each other pretty well. If it, I think there's a high probability that all 3 of these games become battle of the bullpens.
Mhm.
And we'll see. And maybe that's where Cleveland has the advantage tonight because they didn't have to use Clase
Right.
last night. But Karinchak's certainly not pitching tonight. He threw 30 some odd pitches
Yeah.
yesterday. So we'll see. I think this is going to be relative low scoring series. I mean, remember last year the Mariners and Guardians played each other 7 times. Seattle won 6,
Yeah.
but I don't think they won any game by more than 3 runs, if I'm remembering
Mm.
correctly. So these are going to be close games. They're both offenses that can score if you make a mistake, but these are 2 really good pitching staffs. They play good defense. They run the bases pretty well. They're 2 really solid teams. So I think this is going to be a real battle here. I think I would give the edge to Seattle. The good news is you got one in your back pocket.
Mhm.
So even if you lose these next 3, it's really not a disaster, right? And there's not a lot of disasters 4 games in anyways, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you just find a way to win one of the next 2, and then you kind of go in with some house money on Sunday with Marco pitching, and you see what happens. So
Mhm.
I think the Mariners are in good shape to take this series, or at the very least split it.
Mhm.
And I think they have the edge, at least on the next 2 nights on the mound. And then we'll see, what we get from Marco. But I feel
Yeah.
pretty good about this series
Yeah, I think there's a pretty clear starting pitching advantage for the Mariners here, and offense
on
too.
paper.
On offense too, because again, last night they were the better offense, even though that they weren't able to put
Yeah.
together any runs until the 8th. Like you mentioned, the quality of at bats that they were having was pretty darn good. I mean,
Right.
they missed some opportunities there with Bieber. Bieber hung a couple pitches that they missed on,
Yeah.
but
Castillo did the same.
yeah, Castillo did the same. Also, Castillo got a lot of help from the umpire last night as well. That zone was pretty wide.
So did Bieber.
So did Bieber. Yeah, it worked both ways. It worked both ways. Yeah,
That was a big zone.
that was
last
a
night.
really wide zone. Yeah,
Yeah.
right from the get go
The
too.
the 3-0 pitch to Quan or whatever. That was
Yeah,
oof.
yeah.
That was
There
our
were
3-1
few.
pitch.
There were a few sinkers on the outside
Mhm.
corner that should
Well
not
off
have been
the
strikes.
outside
Yeah,
corner.
well off. Yeah,
Yeah,
about
and
6
then
to 8
Bieber
inches
got
off.
yeah, it's funny that both pitchers, the righties had to cover an extra, 3 inches off the outside corner, and the lefties had to cover about an extra 3 or 4 inches off the
Yeah,
outside corner. And so it was more of an oval type of strike zone last night.
yeah.
So when you combine that with obviously the really good pitching staffs and the cold weather, surprise, low scoring game that got over pretty quickly. So,
2 hours and 14 minutes. It was the second quickest game yesterday.
Yeah. Kind of makes not a lot of strikeouts, not a lot of walks.
Yeah. No scoring.
Yeah.
And really no, hits and bunches either, right? The Mariners
No,
got
just
one
kinda
hit per
isolated
inning for
hits.
the first 6
Yeah.
innings, and that was it.
Hit here, hit there, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I will say the pitch clock thing, just from an aesthetic standpoint, I thought the root broadcast was pretty good. They were able to get in some replays in between pitches
Yeah.
and stuff
they
like that.
handled it really well. Yeah.
They were quick on that. They didn't put the pitch clock wasn't just sitting there like counting down. They waited until they got to 8 seconds before they showed it, and even then, you kind of had to look for it on the score bug to notice it. So I think they handled that really
for those
well.
that missed it, it's where the R is, the root sports
Right.
R. It turns into the clock at 8 seconds.
At 8 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really nice way to handle it. So I didn't feel like the clock was just beating down on me, but also if I wanted to know how much time I could find it. So I think that aesthetically it looked fine. I think it looked fine. I would like, closer to 2.5 hour games than 2:15, but I think that's yesterday was just more of an outlier.
Yeah, because it was one of the lower scoring games of the day, and of course, there was no scoring until the bottom of the 8th. So
right,
that's how it's gonna go.
only one inning pitching change as well. So
yeah,
and it was in the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah,
so
really, that Kelenic inning was the one that really took a
we might have been
bite
sub
into the
2
time.
hours.
Yeah, we might have. Yeah, if it was just like a quick little solo home run to take the lead. Yeah.
First pitch solo home run, and then it's a 1-0 game.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the bottom of the 8th and the top of the 9th took like 20 minutes combined.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting. I didn't notice it too much though, just to wrap this up. I didn't notice it too much though, because the broadcast handled it so well with the replays and all that. I thought they balanced it. I mean, as far as like doing your first official broadcast with the pitch clock and everything, I thought Root Sports knocked it out of the park. So
yeah, I think it plays better on TV than it will on the radio though.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much.
Whoa.
Oh, we got something?
You don't want to take to rake or whatever?
Oh God, we always jinx these guys though when we do this. I thought we learned our lesson from
Nope.
last year.
I'm calling my shot.
All right.
Kelenic goes deep tonight. He's going to Yaya Town. He's going to get a cutter middle in, and he's going to hit it 370 feet, 107 exit velocity. Just an absolute line shot down into the right field corner for a home run.
All right. Damn it.
Just going to miss the hit it here cafe.
Teo's going to hit the home run tonight.
Kiss of death.
I'll be one night off. Teo's going to get back on the horse here. And you know what? I'll call my shot here. 2-run home run, second at bat into Eggers for Teo.
All right, fine. I'll do you one better.
All right.
Kelenic.
Uh-huh.
First at bat.
Okay.
2-run shot.
Mm-hmm.
Just about 6 rows from the concourse in right field. Yep. He's gonna be a 4-iron home run.
All right. We'll see. We'll see who's right.
On a 2-1 cutter.
We'll see who's right. So yeah. We just cursed Teoscar Hernandez and Jared Kelenic, by the way. So
I will be watching Kelenic's first at bat, praying it at least gets to a 2-1 count.
Combined 0 for 8 confirmed tonight because of what we just said.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry, folks. But hey,
I changed
hopefully that
I'm
means
picking Hunter.
Yeah, I'm picking Jose Ramirez for 4 for 4 tonight. Yeah, totally. Let's use our powers for good here. Thank you so much for joining us on the Locked On Mariners podcast today. For Colby Patnode, I'm Trident Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez. That's DaneGNZLZ. And Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well at Locked On Mariners. That's Locked On Mariners, one word. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. And thank you again for making us your first listen. Now, for your second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Win your league by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy draft strategies. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts, just like us. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And with that, have yourself a beautiful baseball day and a beautiful baseball weekend. And we'll see you next week. Peace. Go M's.